Green Supply Chain Insights, hosted by Finboot's CEO, Juan Miguel Perez.
Hello, everyone. I'm back. New year, new brand, and new episode of Green Supply Chain Insights, the web series where I bring in my own perspective on green supply chain management, the current state of the industry, and some exciting innovations in this landscape. Last year, I talked quite a bit about COP29 and my disappointment out of the conference, concluding that we can no longer rely on this UN Framework Convention on Climate Change for an impactful, an accelerated, and a reliable race to net zero emissions. I'm still a firm supporter of the Paris Agreement, which was a huge step forward in the fight against climate change. But we need further global organization and cooperation across different stakeholders, public and private sector, civil society, academia, and international non-governmental organizations. We need industry leaders to take the lead on decarbonization and be one or several steps ahead of what governments ask of them. Basically, policy moves too slow for us to reach our global climate goals. Industry and innovation have historically moved faster, but we need further alignment on return on investment and monetization of sustainability investments. That is why, for today's episode, we are moving the spotlight to another major event that has been bringing together all of these stakeholders to discuss and explore solutions to the most pressing global risks affecting our world. I'm talking about the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum, informally known as Davos. The World Economic Forum is a global organization that brings together government, businesses, and civil society to improve the state of the world. Founded in 1971 as the European Management Forum and later remained the World Economic Forum in the late 80s, every year their annual meeting, Davos, convenes global leaders to address key global and regional challenges, which include responding to geopolitical shocks, stimulating economic growth, improving living standards, and stewarding a just and inclusive energy transition. Davos has become a platform for decision makers across the public and private sectors to negotiate and even agree to business partnerships and political breakthroughs. But the conference also serves as an opportunity for the forum to set the agenda for the year, introducing the initiatives to be carried out at the World Economic Forum centers throughout the year. The forum is composed of 10 different centers that carry out these initiatives across various verticals, such as supply chain, energy and materials, nature and climate, just to name a few. This year's agenda brings us 5 key themes that come together under the umbrella term collaboration for the collaboration for the intelligent age. These terms are rebuilding trust, reimagining growth, investing in people, safeguarding the planet, and industries in the intelligent age. The agenda is largely linked to the results of one of the forum's major publications, which is their Global Risk Report, released every year ahead of the annual meeting. The Global Risk Report is a perception survey where stakeholders answer questions such as their outlook for the world in the short term, the next 2 years, and the long term over the next decade. While at the time of this recording, this year's report had not been published, I went through some of the results of last year's report that I would like to highlight today. One of the most unsettling results is that the world outlook from respondents signals the chances of a stormy or turbulent outlook going from 30% over the next 2 years up to 63% in the next 10 years. Extreme weather events were the most likely risk to present a material crisis in 2024, and considering 2024 has been confirmed as the hottest year on record, surpassing the infamous 1.5 degrees Celsius mark from pre-industrial levels, and how we've started 2025 with the fast-spreading wildfires in drought-stricken LA, I feel this year's report will unfortunately continue to show similar or even worse concerns. In fact, in 2024, the top 4 global risks in impact severity over the next 10 years are all linked to the environment. Extreme weather events, critical change to Earth systems, biodiversity loss, and natural resource shortage. And these outlooks vary very little across the spectrum of stakeholders, which means that at the very least, there's an alignment across civil society, international organizations, academia, government, and the private sector. This alignment is what has enabled the forum to launch some revolutionary initiatives that came out of Davos and have grown to have a sizable impact in our fight against climate change. I've selected 3 of them to highlight today. First up is Gaia, or Giving to Amplify Growth, which launched in 2023 to tackle the issue of climate finance with their 4P approach: public, private, and philanthropic partnerships. The Gaia community has approximately $200 billion in aggregated philanthropic capital. This philanthropic funding is used to unlock seed capital, to create structures that reduce risk, to enable testing, and to secure investments, while the private and public sector provide a supportive environment fueling additional funding. This initiative is a start to close the climate adaptation finance gap, which was estimated by the UN to be between 194 and $366 billion a year. Second, we have Mission Possible from Davos 2021. It is an alliance of climate leaders seeking to supercharge efforts to decarbonize hard-to-abate sectors. The group offers their support to a community of CEOs of carbon-intensive industries, their financiers, suppliers, and customers to agree on ways to decarbonize the industry. Their own tracker reveals heavy industry transition has started, but it needs to accelerate sevenfold to meet 2030 climate targets. To put this into perspective, Mission Possible Partnership aims to have 705 net zero operational plants by 2030 across various sectors like chemicals, steel, and transport. As of 2024, of the 705, only 68 plants were operational, with 42 having reached final investment decisions and another 473 plants announced. These plants announced need to reach final investment decisions in the next 2 years in order for construction to be this decade. It would still get us only 80% of the target, meaning more plants need to be announced and reach final investment decision within the next 2 years. The next couple of years are critical, but hopefully partnerships like Mission Possible will accelerate this progress. And last, but definitely not least, is the network to mobilize investment for clean energy in the global south. Emerging markets and the developing economies are set to represent 90% of the growth in global energy demand by 2035. Yet, today, they only account for less than 20% of global clean energy investments. Since its launch in Davos, the network has grown to over 45 members, and it has introduced over 100 concrete policy interventions, de-risking tools, and finance mechanisms to help increase capital for clean energy in the global south. I'm excited to see the progress these and other initiatives continue to make. I'm also hoping to see some new exciting initiatives launched this year. The role of the World Economic Forum in climate action has risen significantly in the past decade, and I believe it will continue to do so in the future, as this type of multi-stakeholder coalitions are key to our success in this road to a net zero economy. Of course, it's not all roses. Davos has weathered important criticism in the past. The organization and some of its leadership have been at the center of some corruption scandals and controversies. Additionally, as an invitation-only event that brings together politicians and CEOs of the world's largest companies, the event has been seen as a gathering of the elites more than a driving force for positive change. Not to mention that with climate at the core of the agenda, such an event is bound to have a significant climate impact, as many private jets are heading to Switzerland. The forum has recognized all of this and has also rolled out their own initiatives to boost sustainability at Davos. Since 2017, all Davos related CO2 emissions have been calculated and offset through environmental projects. They have taken steps to reduce waste, including the use of repurposed event materials, the removal of single use plastics, and collaborations with local associations to distribute non use furniture and food leftovers. Transportation remains the primary source of CO2 emissions at Davos. Therefore, the forum encourages attendees to travel in the most sustainable manner and offers a 100% discount for all participants who travel from Europe by train. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Davos and the World Economic Forum. How do you think their positive impact balances with some of the controversy? Let me know in the comments below. Despite our views, Davos keeps going. The annual meeting is starting today as I release this video. Public sessions are live streamed, so we'll also leave the link in the comments, and certainly the media will provide a comprehensive reporting of what happens this week at Davos. With that, we will be back next month with another episode of Green Supply Chain Insights. Remember, you can find all the episodes and articles of this series on LinkedIn, on our YouTube channel, or going to finboot.com/insights. Thank you for watching and see you next month.